territory that they have mastered and understand. That's their home territory, and they have to deal with territories where the predators lurk, let's say, and animals tend to stick to their home territory because that's explored, and they tend to be afraid of their unexplored territory because that's where they can be destroyed. And so this notion, this metaphysical notion that experience is characterized by chaos and order, is also a notion that can align with a materialistic view of the world and the psyche as a biological phenomenon. Your nervous system is set up really to respond with security when you're in the territory that you understand, and to respond with first fear and then curiosity when you encounter the territory you don't understand. Now, for animals, that territory tends to be more specifically geographical, right? Because like a wolf pack will have its territory, or any given animal will have its physical territory. Now, we inhabit a physical territory, which is why hopefully you're comfortable at home and less comfortable when you make a foray out into the world to places that you don't know. But our environment is also conceptual, right? And so our conceptual environments are also divided up into the things we understand and the things that we don't understand. And even though we can be at home in our physical territory and quite secure, in our metaphysical territories, there are still domains that we don't understand, edges and frontiers, right? And so if maybe you have some primitive understanding of physics, but you could certainly appreciate very rapidly that there are physical theories developed by sophisticated physicists that transcend your understanding. And you could imagine that there's also a place between your understanding and those more sophisticated theories where you can almost understand. And you could imagine standing on that edge of almost understanding and being curious and intrigued and enticed by the possibility that you might expand your knowledge. Well, you're surrounded by a metaphysical territory, a multidimensional metaphysical territory made of all these different domains of knowledge, and you have some mastery over each of them. There are elements of them that transcend you, and there are frontiers and borders that you could stand on where you would learn, right? Here's the thing to know. You get interested in something when you're put on the edge of what you know, right? And that grip of interest is actually a manifestation of the instinct that drives you to learn. Now, and you can see now and then that you'll encounter
Mix and match Domino's medium specialty pizzas for just $9.99 each. Hey, Fernando.
a book or a talk or a discussion that maximizes your engagement, and the maximization of that engagement is generally a signal that you're in the place where optimized learning is taking place. Now, people make the claim, especially in the modern world, that life is intrinsically meaningless, and that's usually a rationalist claim. I can talk about that later, but I'm making a phenomenological claim, which is that there's an instinct of meaning that signals that you're in a place that's the border between what you know and what you don't know, that grips you, and that phenomenological meaning is a signal of transformation and of expansion, of adaptation. And in consequence, it's not something that should be eradicable by a kind of brainless nihilism. It's actually the deepest signal you have that you're in the place that you should be if you're transforming into the next best version of yourself. So you don't want to forego a relationship with that, because if you do that because you're nihilistic, let's say, and maybe because you've been hurt, then you're going to destroy your relationship with the process that could transform you and allow you to adapt to the world. That seems like a bad idea. And so it's use. People say, that they can't live without meaning, and that's a very strange thing to say if you think about meaning as something that's only abstracted or metaphysical. But if you understand that meaning is actually a manifestation of the instinct that signals optimal learning or optimal transformation, then you can understand why you might die without meaning, because in some sense, if you're static, you're not living. So that if you also understand dose of nihilism that says, at its core, life has no meaning. It's like, I probably figured this out years ago when I was thinking about music. Because music has the aspect of intrinsic meaning, right? If you're listening to a piece of music that compels you or that you love, and someone taps you on the shoulder and tells you that, in the final analysis, that nothing you do has any significance, if you have any sense, you're going to just push them away and say, yeah, but I'm listening to the music. And music is a balance between chaos and order, right? It has an element of predictability, otherwise you can't follow the piece of music, but it has an element of unpredictability because if it just repeats over and over, you get bored with it very quickly. So what a musician does is present you with a structure of order and then vary that in an interesting way within a certain set of parameters and captures your interest as a consequence. And the reason that you feel that as meaningful is because what music is doing is modeling the way the world actually works. Right? And that's also extremely useful to know. You hear that music is a non-representational art, but that's actually not true. It's the most representational art because it specifies most precisely that the world is made out of order and chaos and that meaning is the appropriate balance between the two. And so I would say if you're conducting your life properly, so to speak, it'll have a musical element. It'll have that same kind of meaning and that things will fall into place in a relatively musical manner. You'll see in your life that there are times when you're in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, and things fall into alignment, right, all around you. Temporally, they're timed well, and things seem to exist in a harmonious relationship to one another. And those are the times of your life that you would like to have more of if you could only figure out how to do it. And partly what we're going to do in the next hours or so is see if we can step through understanding how you might manage that. All right, so you could say, to begin with, the world is made out of order. And what does it mean for things to be ordered? There's a very specific meaning that's useful to know about that. You're in the domain of order when your actions produce the outcomes you intended. Okay, so that's really what it means to understand something. If what you're doing produces the results that you desire, then you're somewhere you understand. If you're out with your friends, hypothetically, you're there to have a good time. If you're in a conversation with them and the conversation is flowing smoothly, everyone's happy and laughing, then your emotions signal to you that the territory defined by you and your friends and your interaction is familiar and comfortable and promising. It's the same thing if you have a meal with your family and it's going well. Now, maybe you have a meal with your family at a vacation and someone throws something, untoward on the table, which often happens in family gatherings. Some unresolved issue, right, comes up for one reason or another, like it might habitually. That's the emergence of unexplored territory into the domain of what's predictable and positive. Right, and that produces all sorts of emotional reactions, often negative, especially if it happens involuntarily. Right, so that's another way of starting to understand what it means to see the world in this way. So you have what you understand, which is the domain that you inhabit when your patterns of attention and action are producing the desired outcome, and you have the domain of the unexpected, and then you have the border between them as well. Okay, so that's a good way of conceptualizing the world as such. And my proposition was that you experience the positive meaning that lightens up your life when you're standing on the border between order and chaos. That's the border of optimized transformation. Because you might say you're best situated when you're firmly in the domain of what you understand. That's what people think when they pursue security. But the problem with security is that it has no element of transformation. And so you don't only want to be where things are going the way you want them to go. You want to be where
gems sparkle even in the absence of light. Give it freely to all. The mountain reveals the harshest truths in our souls. I climbed Mount Targa. You did not. Money well spent. Just as the mountain is eternal, so is time.
An ally has been slain.
Always forward. To protect all. These This world's fragile beauty must be preserved.
An enemy has been slain.
Love is simply beauty crystallized. A little something from Targon. These gems aren't just for show.
Enemy killing spree. Enemy double kill.
Targon weeps for you. Human life is fleeting. The mountain's life less so. Stars. Stars are eternal.
Your turret has been destroyed.
The stars were the question. I was the answer. Demacia was my home, but the stars are my destination.
An ally has been slain. Enemy double kill.
Bigger! The Protector speaks through me. Honor the mountain. Beauty and life.
Your turret has been destroyed.
Arrogance never helped win a fight, but it never hurt.
Enemy rampage.
Sometimes, life is worth dying for.
Smaller in the diagram.
Oh, the sights we'll see.
An ally has been slain.
Truth is worth fighting for, but beauty is worth dying for. This victory will never conquer. Challenge is
Enemy double kill.
no, I didn't see stars. I serve life, but deal death. Gems always hold their edge.
An ally has been slain. An enemy is unstoppable. Enemy killing spree. Your turret has been destroyed. Your inhibitor has been destroyed. Your turret has been destroyed.